Foreigners in Japan. Chat, you know, maybe we're the problem. We, the foreigners, are the Gion. Yeah, like, of course, he's funny. Informative, but still funny. He's a very serious expression on his face. This must be serious. A worsening situation. Yeah. I'm ready. Are redeems off, by the way? I hope so. I think they are. Anyway, I'm ready.
So last week I was in Kyoto having a quiet stroll through the entertainment district of Gion. A stunning area where it's not uncommon to see kimono-clad geisha in their striking white makeup wandering up and down the streets. There's an authenticity to Gion, particularly on the south side with its alleyways and wooden townhouses.
Yeah, they still have a lot of the old architecture. It's really pretty.
A sense that it's remained unchanged for centuries, a rare thing for a Japanese city. That's why I love it. So imagine my horror when a few days after I left Kyoto, the city announced that it was taking the radical step to ban foreign tourists outright from the very place that I'd just been
Wait, someone just said white people are a plague. Man, I'd rip you apart for that, but yeah, I'd rip you apart, but I'm too busy acting. Kind of weird. That's your first time chat. Yuki Violetta moment.
Stumbling around. My initial thoughts were, my god, what did I do wrong? What did I do? Not again. But unfortunately, turns out it was nothing I did, although the blame does indeed reside with foreign tourists. More specifically, foreign tourists treating geisha like costume characters in a theme park, getting up close, firing off selfies, touching their kimonos, and even, in some of the worst cases, pulling on their hair. I mean, things were already pretty bad, with signs plastered up the street reminding tourists of the 10,000 yen fine for taking photos without permission.
Good. That should deter people. Good.
But clearly that wasn't enough, leading to this very sad move that I think most people would kind of agree is completely understandable.
It's like $80.
Honestly, I think the solution is actually fairly simple. Dress up members of the Yakuza as geisha and have them walk around Gion in circles, waiting for unsuspecting tourists to pull on their hair. God forbid, that would certainly lead to some interesting results. But today I want to talk about this and some pretty worrying stories involving foreign tourists.
So loud.
This isn't just a Kyoto problem. There's stories up and down Japan that might shock and surprise you. And it certainly doesn't help that there's been
teen tourist carves name into 1,200-year-old Japanese temple. I feel like, my god, maybe I'm one of those tourists, but my parents would beat my ass if I did that, personally. I just don't get it. A teenager did that, and then they're like, oh, yeah, it's fine. It's just so terrible, man.
Some highly publicised incidents involving...
I bet they carved Fortnite into it, too.
Foreign influencers doing unspeakably shitty things as well. But I'd like to think nobody here who watches these videos would ever grab a geisha's kimono or defile a sacred temple. I don't want to sit here and give you a stern, condescending lecture. I don't want it to feel like you've been summoned to the school principal's office for bad behaviour. Or maybe I do. Maybe I want to go mad with pain. You know, it's funny when I chat to people about coming to Japan, there's so much fear. Fear about making a faux pas or screwing up the etiquette, because Japan does have a lot of rules and things that we're not accustomed to while we're here. But look, here's the thing. You really don't need to worry about putting a foot wrong here. Perhaps with the exception of not taking off your shoes and trampling all over a tatami mat floor. In which case you quite literally have to worry about putting a foot wrong. Apart from that, nobody here will ever get mad at you for making a simple, honest mistake. The sort of things you do need to worry about are all common sense things to avoid doing as a decent human being. Case in point, don't carve your fucking name into the bamboo trees of Kyoto's...
Yeah, look, Jaden, Cypher, Dandelion, of course. These names actually unironically check out. Dandelion, Cypher, Jaden, what is it, Pristine, Cindy with an S-Y. Yeah, they're Fortnite game name. Yeah, exactly. Dude, what a scumbag. Bro, I can't with these people. They take years to, like, grow out of these shells. They're just there forever, essentially.
Arashiyama forest, as has happened with over 100 trees, often damaging them irreparably to the point that they have to be chopped down.
Yeah.
Worse still, there's recently been some highly publicised cases of foreign tourists carving their names into temples and shrines. Just last year, a Canadian teenager admitted to scratching his name into the 1200-year-old Toshodaiji Temple in Nara, treating the UNESCO World Heritage Site as if it were a fucking whiteboard.
That is so terrible, bro. Why not just show respect? It's like going into, like, a museum and being like, yeah, I'm just gonna scratch my name into, like, the marble of, like a statue or something. Like, ha 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 ha, that's so cool. My parents always told me, don't touch anything. My mom would be watching me like a hawk, at least until I grew up. Because I've been to a lot of places. I've never been to Japan, but my parents would watch me like a hawk. Just in case. You never know. Like, kids can be, like, little ignorant little frickers. But still. I don't know.
Using his fingernail to carve his name Julian into the wood. Defiling a culture. Shocking behaviour from a Canadian. You know, you never see behaviour like that from a British person.
I think everybody does it. Sorry, I put pause on this phase, but I think every country has their problems. I know for a fact, there's some Asian tourists that go to, like, New Zealand, I think it was. There was a drama about it, and they were, like, disrespecting trees that are, heritage sites, and, like, peeing on them without knowing and stuff, and I'm like, why don't you just, like, go pee in a bush, or say, like, to your guide, like, hey, I need to pee. Don't just, like, go pee on a tree. Like, it's so rude. I don't get it. Just behave like a normal human being. I'd be so embarrassed.
But if you graffiti a national treasure in Japan, you could go to prison for 5 years or get a fine of about 300,000 yen, $2,000. Fortunately, though, if you feel like defacing a World Heritage Site or being an all-around prick, there is a hack for getting around it. At the same time, Julian was scratching the letter J into a Japanese temple 6,000 miles away in Rome. Ivan was carving his...
Yep, they do that everywhere. Yeah, they do that in, like, the Sagrada Familia, like, in churches. It's like, why do you do it?
And his girlfriend's name into the Roman Colosseum. Ivan plus Haley, 23. Sounds...
And then they break up a year later. Wow, crazy. That's so cool. You defaced a historic monument that's been there for thousands of years.
It's like a fraught political campaign. Unsurprisingly, people weren't happy about this. But luckily,
they filmed it too! The thing that blows my mind, it's like the kid didn't film himself scratching into the church, right? Or not the church, the temple, right? And they filmed this, look at his smile. He's like, ha 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 ha. Look, me and my GF are gonna be broken up in 8 months, but we did it.
Ivan seemed to get out of it after he wrote a spectacular letter to the mayor of Rome containing what might be the best sentence ever written. It is with deep embarrassment that only after what regrettably happened did I learn of the antiquity of the monument.
You have to be so incredibly low IQ to not know what the Roman Colosseum is. How do you not know? Like, do you just feign ignorance? Like, maybe... I can't even pretend to be this stupid. I'm not gonna lie.
The antiquity of the monument. Yes, that's right. Ivan claimed that only after he'd finished scratching his name into a 2,000-year-old brick, only then did he realise that the Roman Colosseum might be of some historic importance.
Are you insane? Are you out of your mind? Bro. Yeah. Weird.
I mean, of course it's a monument of fucking antiquity. It's in Gladiator, for God's sake.
Massive piss.
Stink Fox is my favourite smuggler
I've never
not.
understood the thrill of carving one's name into a piece of wood. So, let's do it right here, right now. Oh, and it wasn't the only temple that got defiled either. Just down the road, another ancient temple was the subject of graffiti by what can only be described as a shitty Banksy. This time in the form of a cat. My God, what the hell were they?
Who did this? A child? Like, I know you can't supervise your kids constantly. What is this? A kid made this?
Thinking. Yes, I understand now.
Chris rules.
The immeasurable sense of power, the self-worth. You tried to carve your name into the comment section, be immortalized forever.
I used to carve like little hearts into my desk, and then I got told off, and I never did it again. Do people like this just never get told off ever in their life? Then they don't get told no.
It's very stupid. Fuck it. God, I hate myself. But look, I think for every Japanese temple or bamboo tree that gets defiled, Natsuki should be allowed to carve his name into a historic relic or item from the offending nation.
Oh my gosh.
Only then will justice truly be served. Now, some problems caused by foreign tourists are a bit less obvious and a bit more well-meaning. Case in point, recently one of Japan's most famous shrines, Itsukushima, was completely renovated down in Hiroshima.
Wow, that is so cool. It's like in the ocean. That's badass!
It was old and decaying, and partly because tourists were shoving coins into the shrine itself for what they believed to be was good fortune, inadvertently damaging the shrine with ever larger cracks and
Oh, I hate this thing. Like, people who do one thing and then think it's like a tradition or something. Like, you know, rubbing, like, the crotch of a statue and stuff, and then people had to be told to stop doing it because it ruins the statue. The stupid locks on bridges, yeah, those are insanely cringe as well.
Turning it into some sort of massive crumbling Shinto piggy bank. Yep. Still, hopefully the hundreds of coins they were able to extract from the shrine could go towards its multi-million-dollar renovation. I mean, when they finished pulling all those coins out of the shrine, there must have been, you know, $10, $20. Yeah. But it's not uncommon to see news stories pop up about bad behaviour from foreign tourists. And one of the most bizarre posts that went viral on Twitter involved this sign in a convenience store emblazoned on the front of the steamed pork bun counter. Now, a quick bit of essential Japanese knowledge, the word kore means this, right? And when you order on a menu or a shop, you might point and go, kore shitotsu onegaishimasu. One of those, please, or, you know, kore wa pen desu. This is a pen. And so it's not uncommon to point at a steamed pork bun and go, kore shitotsu onegaishimasu. Yet this note reads, to foreign customers, don't say this one and point. Say, steamed bun, please. Now, there's two things I love about this. Number one, there's a drawing of what's presumably supposed to be a finger, and it looks anything like
it looks like a wiener.
Finger. That's not what you want to see drawn on the front of the steamed pork bun counter.
It looks
awful.
like a
And the second thing I love is that the sign is written in Japanese kanji characters while being aimed at foreign customers who probably aren't able to read it in the first place. Because, you know, odds
yeah, I was about to say, I can't read it.
You probably will say, Nikuman onegaishimasu. Steamed pork bun, please. Clearly, somebody working at the convenience store has had a traumatic encounter and desperately needs to learn how to draw a finger. Meanwhile, in Hokkaido, the local government was criticised after making a booklet aimed at Chinese tourists that was labelled as condescending and offensive, with this incredible, fantastic drawing of a crying toilet covered in filth. Seriously, is there anything more worrying than a
Oh my god, people who can't aim in toilets are actually the bottom feeding garbage filth. I just can't stand it.
Big piss.
Gross.
Massive piss.
Good evening.
Hello. Hi, Thanatos. Thank you for the 2 months. And thank you, Mounto, for the 2 months as well. Thank you. So just sit down, no one's looking. Or just aim your pee-pee at the toilet. Lift up the seat and point your pee-pee. Learn to aim. Oh my god, man.
Sentient toilet, who's so technologically advanced its mood is determined by the state of its cleanliness.
That helps
a frightening
a lot.
image of things to come. Toilets and pork buns aside, bad behaviour of foreign tourists does have real-world implications. A few years ago, one of my favourite temples down in Fukuoka, the Nanzuin Temple, home to one of the world's largest reclining Buddhas, took the drastic step of turning away groups of non-Japanese tourists after a bunch of raging dickheads splashed about in a sacred waterfall and climbed on the roof.
And you ruined it for everyone else. Thank you so much. That is just so sad, man. Oh my god. Ruin it for everyone. You can't even go to a sacred place for, like, you know, purposes of, like, educating yourself. Yeah, it's just like Tangia. Someone abuses it, and we take it too far, and then we have to take it away from everyone.
Of the temple. The Nanzuin Temple is genuinely one of the most incredible temples that I've ever been to. And the idea of people turning up and disrespecting the temple by treating
so disgusting.
like some kind of fucking bouncy castle is genuinely horrific. But again, their exasperation is completely understandable. Like, you understand why they're taking these measures. So what's the future look like for Japan in the face of...
If it happens often enough, I kind of don't blame them. It's just a shame because it ruins it for me.
Mass tourism. It's important to remember that mass tourism is a relatively new concept here. As recently as 20 years ago, they had an average of about 5 to 6 million overseas tourists every year. This year, it's predicted to be 33 million.
Thanks, anime.
Japan has done such a good job maintaining its traditions and customs, ones that often feel very much at odds with the modern world, and
I
it's
want to go
what
to Japan
makes the
so
country
bad.
so profoundly rewarding to explore. And
I don't even care if I get called a Gion. I want to go.
There's no doubt unchecked mass tourism, the kind that the country wants, does run the risk of degrading that magic, particularly in cities like Kyoto. Like, I remember filming a video at a sacred mountain temple called Haguro in Yamagata, and at the time there was a lot of debate amongst the monks and the local practitioners at the idea of actually sharing it at all and encouraging tourists to visit and experience it. The moment you commercialise aspects of your culture like that is the moment, you know, you run the risk of degrading it. Fortunately, in that case,
oh my god, that is beautiful. All the snow around it. Ah, this is stunning.
Japan Fund? Corper.
House fund first, chat. House first, then maybe go to Japan.
It kind of struck the right balance by
that is so pretty.
limiting the number of people who could do the tour and using the income they derive from it to help keep those traditions alive. And Kyoto has absolutely benefited from the same thing, opening its doors to all its sacred temples and shrines, mostly without incident, without any problems. With this ban kicking off next month in April, I'll be sad next time I'm in Kyoto, knowing that one of my favourite areas to stroll around is now strictly off limits. And I sort of worry, where will it end? What other areas might get sort of shut down? Not just in Kyoto, but around Japan. But at the same time, if it helps preserve the city's identity, and more importantly helps geisha feel safe from ill-mannered idiots, then yeah, it's absolutely for the best.
They should raise the fines and then fund like bodyguards for the geisha or something, and like put like hallmarks where not hallmarks, but have people have jobs to like preserve their culture. You know, have people supervising, you know, the temple more or something. Or just ban people from participating in this stuff. Even though it ruins it for everyone else. No house in Japan, chat. I don't want to live in Japan. It's really pretty, but I don't know if I could live there. It's difficult for foreigners, at least for now. I don't know.
But what do you think, guys? Is banning tourists a step too far or a necessary evil for preserving Kyoto? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, guys,
Kyoto is not a theme park. Tourists to be banned from city's famous geisha district. That is such a shame! I think geishas are so cool, man. They're so interesting, and then they just ban it. And like the historic setting, the old buildings that are preserved as well. You can't find anything like this elsewhere in the world, and they just ruin it for everyone else. Like, yeah, you can go to a geisha, like, tourist thing. It's just not the same. It's not the same.
Guys, as always, many thanks for watching. I'll see you right back here to do it again on Abroad in Japan.
Man.
As for me, now I've discovered the simple thrills of graffiti. I'm going to go and carve a donkey into the wall.
Please
Nobody can stop me.
Please.
I have no friends, and I hate myself. Oh.
He has a book, Abroad in Japan. I should buy that if I ever go to Japan. I probably learned something. Whatever happened to wash, don't touch. My parents instilled in that in me so early.
Last time I toured, I made friends with locals and had them bring me to places. Works just fine.
Yeah, if you speak the language a little bit, it helps a lot. The graffiti offense from ancient times in ancient Rome with a donkey. I hope it was a reference. I think it probably was. No, some people aren't raised right. I totally agree. I don't know. My parents did a pretty good job of raising me, in my opinion. I might be a VTuber, but it's not that bad. The only Somali video was funny. He motherfucker got what he deserved. Absolutely. That guy deserved. I think he should be perma-banned from Japan. I don't know if he is, but he should be.